Alright, hey guys, if you watched my last video, you would know that I was a bit behind on my E3 2012 news since I was on vacation, but I think I'm pretty much caught up now. I've watched all the videos I've wanted to watch, I've read up on the news that I've wanted to read, and I think I'm ready to make a video here and talk about some of my favorite games from E3 2012, some of the games I'm looking forward to that are coming out later this year and early next year. I'm not really going to dwell too much on the press conferences. I'm really mostly going to concentrate on the games because, as we all know, this year was a bit disappointing in terms of the press conferences. There was really only one standout press conference, and that was from Ubisoft. The other ones were kind of lackluster. There weren't many big surprises, so overall I'm not going to dwell too much on the bad stuff. I'd rather jump right into the good and talk about some of the games that I'm most looking forward to. Now, I'm going to concentrate on the games that interest me the most, so I'm not going to be talking about Gears of War, Halo, Assassin's Creed, and all that stuff. I'm sure they're all going to be excellent games, but I got a list of games here where I think there's a lot of games that kind of went under the radar from this year. So hopefully, I mentioned a game here that you guys had no idea was even at this year's E3, and hopefully you can, check out some more news on it. Maybe it'll really interest you. So let's get started here. I'm going to start with Nintendo, and I got a list here of all the different games I want to talk about. With Nintendo, first things first, no price, no release date for the Wii U as of yet. I think that was kind of a wrong move. I kind of want to know myself so I can start planning for the launch. But in terms of the games that they showed off for the Wii U, let's start with Nintendo Land. This is sort of going to be their, I'm hoping, Wii Sports pack-in title. Whether or not this is going to be standalone retail or pack-in, I'm not quite sure, but I think they could really benefit from packing this title in. It's sort of a mini-game compilation, but they're not so much mini-games because it's basically different Nintendo series themed to have their own game within Nintendo Land. So they're not like really short little mini-games. They're sort of robust, but not quite big enough to be their own game. So one that they really demoed quite a bit was the Luigi's Mansion one, which is sort of a take on Pac-Man. And it looks like a lot of fun, but they mentioned a lot of stuff about 5-player games where 4 people use a Wii remote and 1 person uses the gamepad, but Nintendo really needs to step up here and start integrating more online. They didn't specifically say if it was going to be local or online only. But 5 players, I mean, I'm sorry, but, with busy life schedules, it's kind of hard to get 5 people together, 5 gamers in one room to play these games, so hopefully they can fix that. Pikmin 3 is looking excellent. I am a huge fan of the original Pikmin when I played that on the GameCube. I picked it up at launch and I thought it was amazing. I still have not played Pikmin 2. I plan on getting the new one coming out for the Wii. But the one on the Wii U is looking actually really good. New Super Mario Bros. U. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this one yet. To be quite honest, I'm getting a little tired of the new Super Mario Bros. Brand of games. I enjoyed the one on the Wii. I enjoyed the one on the DS. They weren't my favorite Mario games. And the one on Wii U seems to not do too much different. One of my most anticipated games coming out for the Wii U is a game called Tank Tank Tank. Now, this is an arcade game that I've played when I went to PAX, I've played when I went to Disney World, I played the actual arcade machine, and it is a total blast. Basically, playing these tanks, and think of it sort of like Smash Brothers, but only playing in like this kind of souped-up third-person tank action beat-em-up sort of shooter game. It's so much fun. It's really over the top. Your tank gets these huge laser beams that'll shoot across the map. It's just a ton of fun, and I cannot wait to have that on the Wii U. Chasing Aurora. Now, this is a game that completely went under everybody's radar, and this is a game that I played back at PAX Prime 2011 in the indie game section when it was being demoed on a PC. It was in early beta stages, and back then it played completely different from what they showed here. It used to play, I'm not sure if this is going to be in the final game, but it played as like a tag team sort of 4-person game, and I thought it was a blast. It was one of my favorite games from PAX 2011. The new version looks like it's sort of an adventure mode. It looks absolutely beautiful. It's sort of like a free flight adventure game, it seems, but this game looks extremely promising. It looks like it's going to be a downloadable title, but definitely look out for Chasing Aurora. Now, this is another game that went under a lot of people's radars, and it was not in the press conference whatsoever, and the reason being, I think, is because they didn't want to have it compete with Pikmin 3. I don't know. But that's Project P100. Now, the name for this game is not finalized as of right now, but from watching the gameplay, this game looks phenomenal. It's actually probably, I would rank it actually as maybe my second most anticipated Wii U game, maybe just behind Tank 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 and possibly Pikmin 3. But Project P100 looks to play like Pikmin, but much more of an action over-the-top spin where you have a group of characters that follow you around, and I don't know the exact mechanics behind it yet, but from watching the trailer, they can combine to make like giant hands, giant swords as a weapon. It just looks completely original. Well, original in the sense that, you know, it borrows gameplay elements from other games such as Pikmin. And it is a Platinum Games, it's being developed by Platinum Games, so you definitely know the kind of quality to expect out of it. So definitely look out for Project P100. Rayman Legends also looks really interesting. I didn't think they can improve upon the visuals of Rayman Origins, but they totally did. The animation and graphics in Rayman Legends just look drop-dead gorgeous. And so far it seems like it's exclusive to the Wii U. And the way it uses the Wii U gamepad is actually pretty interesting, where one player can sort of guide the other players by lifting platforms and interacting on the gamepad and sort of acting as the overseer as the other players play on the TV and move the Rayman characters around. You know, the original Rayman was sort of billed as a good cooperative multiplayer game, and I still had a lot of fun playing single player, so I kind of expect the same from Rayman Legends. I'm hoping that if you do play single player, you can sort of do the interactions yourself on the gamepad and also control the character at the same time. And lastly, for the Wii U, the last game I wanted to talk about is Zombie U. And this is sort of, it looks interesting, but to be quite honest, I think it's getting a little overhyped, only because everybody's so astonished that a mature first-person game was shown off at a Nintendo press conference, and, you know, it's going to be a Wii U launch title. From what I've watched, it looks like it's going to be pretty fun. It seems to be your standard first-person zombie game, but there's some kind of mechanic where when you die, you actually turn into a zombie and you play as a zombie, I believe, or something like that. There's a lot of scanning going on by lifting the gamepad up and scanning for ammunition and stuff like that. So I'd imagine similar to Resident Evil on the 3DS, where you're always scanning the environments for ammunition and items. So I'm hoping that one's going to turn out to be a pretty good launch title. On the 3DS, Castlevania Lords of Shadow, Mirror of Fate. This is another 2D Castlevania game in a similar style to the ones on the DS, except this one's going to be on 3DS. They kind of play around with the camera angles a bit to kind of give it a nice 3D effect, because it's on the 3DS, you want to use some 3D. And it looks good. I mean, I'm not sure if it's going to stack up to the ones on DS, but from what they showed, it looks really impressive. One game that I'm really looking forward to is Epic Mickey: The Power of Illusion on 3DS, and this is being sort of created as a sequel to Castle of Illusion on the Sega Genesis, and it looks really good. It looks like a Super Nintendo game to me, which is excellent. We need more platformers like this. I'm really looking forward to it. Harvest Moon 3D, A New Beginning for the Nintendo 3DS, and what's really interesting about this entry in the Harvest Moon series is that you can finally have sort of a simulation aspect where you can place your town down the way you want it. So think like Dark Cloud or something like that, where you can place your houses, place the village the way you want it, and that's the first for the Harvest Moon series, so I'm looking forward to that. Luigi's Mansion, Dark Moon, they showed us some more gameplay of it. To me, it doesn't seem to quite match the magic of the original Luigi's Mansion. This one seems to be a bit more chaotic, and I don't know, there's just the eeriness and the puzzles of the original Luigi's Mansion doesn't seem to be quite the same in what they've shown for this one, but I'm still anticipating it. Another game that I'm actually really looking forward to on the 3DS is New Super Mario Bros. 2. Now, what makes this really different from the other 2D side-scrolling Mario games is this is more of a score attack, you know, time trial-based Mario game where you're trying to collect as many coins as you can in the levels, and there's different power-ups, new power-ups that you can get that turns Mario into, instead of Metal Mario, a Gold Mario that turns everything in his path into gold coins. There's a coin block head where as you run faster you'll get more coins, and it just seems like a heck of a lot of fun. There's online functions to compare high scores with friends, and this is the kind of change that the Mario games needed on the DS. It keeps, you know, that 2D side-scrolling action, but it adds a new element that kind of differentiates itself from New Super Mario Bros. U or New Super Mario Bros. Or New Super Mario Bros. Wii. This one has got my attention. Next is Paper Mario Sticker Star, and this is probably going to be very half and half between Paper Mario fans because they're eliminating the whole level up aspect of an RPG element that the original Paper Mario games had. There's still an RPG battle system, but instead of leveling up, you actually collect stickers in the game, which are hidden throughout the entire world. It encourages exploration and looking in every little nook and cranny to find these stickers, and the stickers are used for your attacks in the game. So if you find a sticker with a boot on it, you know, that's a jump ability, and once you use that, it's gone and you can't use it again in battle. So instead of leveling up, you're always finding stickers which you use for your attacks and abilities, and it seems like a really interesting concept. I'm going to miss the whole RPG leveling up aspect and experience points from battles and everything, but this seems like a really good change. And lastly is Code of Princess, which is coming out. It's going to be a 2D action beat-em-up similar to the Guardian Heroes game with different planes of action, and it's a really beautiful looking game and definitely one that I'm happy being localized and brought over to the US.